Honora is the name on everybody's lips right now. This romantic drama, with a sparkling comedic streak, was the big winner at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival back in May, is likely to be a Best Picture contender at the upcoming Academy Awards, and has been a staple of critics' best lists. It features on my own ranking as well. There's no denying that Honora is currently a big deal. However, to my frustration, this Sean Baker movie has been inaccessible to many eager viewers due to its limited theatrical run. But that all changes now, as Honora has just arrived on PVOD streaming as of Tuesday, December 17. This unmissable movie is now available to stream with purchase on platforms including Amazon and Apple. Now is the time to get acquainted with Honora Ani Mikiva ahead of her taking home some Oscar gold in 2025. Wondering if Honora can possibly live up to the immense hype? Here's everything you need to know about this critically acclaimed movie and why it deserves its near-perfect rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Framed as a modern-day Cinderella story that blends drama, comedy, and a big dollop of tragedy, Honora is the latest feature from acclaimed director Sean Baker, who previously crafted well-received movies The Florida Project, Tangerine, and Red Rocket. Mikey Madison plays the eponymous heroine, a young sex worker living in the Brighton Beach neighborhood of Brooklyn. Meeting the immature son of a Russian oligarch, Vanya, Mark Eidelstein, the two strike up an exclusive relationship that eventually leads to an impulsive marriage in Las Vegas. However, when Vanya's parents learn of the marriage, they are furious that their son would disgrace the family name and dispatch a couple of lackeys to ensure that the marriage is annulled and Vanya is returned home. Determined to hold on to the life of luxury she's just earned, Ani has to convince Vanya to defy his parents and stand up for their relationship. The main reason to watch Honora can be summed up in just 2 words: Mikey Madison. The American actress has been steadily building a career over the last few years, appearing in movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and 2022's Scream, but her performance here is a true star-making turn. She is electric in every single frame, and her work goes a long way to making Ani feel like such a fully fleshed-out character. Give her an Oscar now. But that's not to say the rest of the cast isn't able to meet the high bar set by Madison. Eidelstein is impressively unlikable as the spoilt and arrogant Vanya. By the end, you will truly loathe him. And I greatly enjoyed Karen Karagulian's turn as Toros, the man tasked with locating a missing Vanya, even if that means missing his grandson's christening. But we can't talk about the supporting cast without mentioning Yura Borisov as Igor, a henchman with a heart of gold. Igor is one of the few people in the entire movie to treat Ani like an actual human and care about her situation, and by the end was my favorite character. Give him an Oscar as well. Honora's deconstruction of the Cinderella story is funny but also unflinching and heartbreaking. The first act plays out like a heightened fairy tale. Granted, a very grown-up fairy tale, but the sobering hangover of reality soon hits hard, and Ani's seemingly perfect future is rapidly ripped from her grasp. Baker, who writes as well as directs, gets great comedy from the increasingly farcical situation, but it's all underpinned by a real sense of tragedy too. Like the rest of Baker's filmography, there's an impressive honesty to Honora. The dialogue is laden with profanity, but also with a sense of authenticity. The movie is certainly a ride with the situation constantly escalating until it reaches an inevitable boiling point, and it all leads to a hauntingly harrowing ending. It's one of the rare movies I've seen in theaters when nobody in the audience moved a muscle when the credits began, as we all took a collective intake of breath and considered the impact of what we'd just witnessed, aside from a middle portion that falls into a repetitive cycle. Ani, Toros, Igor, and Garnik, Vash Tavmasayan, embark on a thankless quest to find a missing Vanya, and the lengthy sequence halts the narrative momentum. Honora puts very few steps wrong. It's a masterfully crafted movie that often entertains, but isn't afraid to show the uncomfortable fallout when the glitzy party ends and the lights are switched back on to reveal some ugly truths. Honora reviews. Critics love this movie. I'm far from the only one fawning over Honora. The movie premiered at the Cannes Film Festival 2024, where it won the Palme d'Or, and has received adoring write-ups ever since. Its 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes is a testament to its quality, and that rating comes from more than 280 reviews, so it's no small sample size. Its audience score is also very strong at 90%. Brian Truitt of USA Today said, "Honora isn't a fairy tale that plays by the rules of Prince Charming's and happy endings. Instead, it thankfully explores something more real. People just trying to get through the day with some sense of hope and human connection." Meanwhile, Empire magazine's Beth Webb was similarly impressed. At once a frenzied fairy tale and a tender-hearted character study, Honora is an intoxicating pairing of director and star. Baker's unique, humanistic approach to filmmaking is as riveting and rewarding as ever, said Webb in a 4-star review. Maxwell Rabb of the Chicago Reader stated it straddles a fine line as the year's funniest and most heart-wrenching movie, and Matt Singer of Screen Crush summed up the movie quite succinctly and labeled it highly entertaining and loaded with terrific performances. Of course, not every critic offered up a positive review. One of the few mixed reactions came from Richard Brody of The New Yorker, who said, "There's a significant work of art lurking within Honora, but it's confined within the limits of a potboiler." I have to say, I disagree. Honora is a movie that you don't want to miss. While it's not the most appropriate seasonal watch, this is certainly not a movie to watch with the whole family over the holidays. Its blend of comedy and drama mix perfectly, and Mikey Madison's performance is worthy of all the hype. I suspect the conversation surrounding Honora will intensify over the coming weeks as we approach the 97th Academy Awards on March 2, 2025. So, stream this flick beforehand to stay in the loop. Just make sure to prepare yourself for a modern fairy tale that goes to some very real places and will leave your soul a little sore. If you're not totally sold on Honora, why? Then it's not the only new movie arriving on streaming this week. Check out our full guide for even more flicks to watch at home over the festive period, including Juror Number 2 on Max.